This excerpt that you're getting ready to watch is dealing with John Hanson and was he the first president. This comes from a presentation by myself, Michael Imhotep of the African History Network show. It's entitled Should African Americans Celebrate Black History Month Exposing the Myths? It's available at theafricanhistorynetwork.com. It's item number 744. Item number 744, and it is 4.5 hours. Be sure to pick up your copy today. Very interesting. How many people know this is? Okay. All right. So what have you heard about John Hanson?
A lot of people say he's the first black president, but it was Federation.
Say again, brother?
President of the Articles of Confederation.
Okay. You saying that's what you heard, or you saying he was?
He was.
Okay.
It's in the sweat lodge.
Say again?
It's in the sweat lodge.
The sweat lodge. Okay. All right, now when I say maybe outside the circumference of
He's on the picture of the dollar bill.
$2 bill, that's what they say. $2 bill. What year did he die?
Long time ago.
I know that. on the back of the $2 bill, what is that depicted? The what? No, on the back of the $2 bill. They're white men on the back of the $2 bill. They aren't back there because he's president. Well, what is that depicted on the back of the $2 bill?
That's when there was a signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Okay. You can disagree with me, that's fine. You know, but I'm gonna show you this stuff. You still want to disagree with me, that's cool. Like I said in the beginning, you don't have to take my word for this. Go do your own research. Okay, now. All right, so when we look at the $2 bill, if you look on the reverse side, this is what is depicted right now. Unfortunately, there's some misinformation about the $2 bill. If you look at what's circled in red, the way this myth goes is that this person is John Hanson the Moor, the black John Hanson. Okay, this scene is from June 28th, 1776. It's not the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It is the drafting of the Declaration of Independence by the 5-man committee. Okay, the adoption of the Declaration of Independence doesn't occur until the 4th of July, 1776, but it's not completely signed until about August of 1776. August 2nd of 1776. You have about 52 signers who have signed it, but there's still 6 who have not signed it. But it was adopted the 4th of July, 1776. Okay. Now, I've heard some Prince Hall Masons say that that's Prince Hall there as well. Okay. Now, here's the problem with this theory. This depiction is from a painting done by an artist named John Trumbull, which was commissioned in 1817. Okay. Next, what you see here is the actual painting from John Trumbull. All right. You can go to answers.com and search for $2 bill as well as Declaration of Independence. When you search for Declaration of Independence, look at the entry from the Columbia Encyclopedia, which does an excellent job on it, and they talk about the actual signing of it August 2nd, 1776, as opposed to July 4th, which most people think is the 4th of July. However, even though John Hancock signed it July 4th, most of the others did not. Okay. Now, when you look at the painting, you'll see that nobody on the painting is of African descent. You'll see that the person who we had circled on the $2 bill, in fact, just has a shadow over his face. He's clearly European. He just has a shadow over his face. What has happened is that when that painting gets depicted on the $2 bill and you're dealing with shades of white and green or what have you, okay, it darkens his face and it gives fodder to the myth that this was a person of African descent. All right. As we get more into this, dealing with John Hanson and dispelling this myth about John Hanson, you'll understand this as well. But on the back of the $2 bill, there was no one of African descent on the back of the $2 bill. All right. And this is easily verifiable. Proper documentation ends all conversation.
All right. So now, have you all heard also that he was a senator in Liberia?
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard that? Okay. Can anybody tell me what year he was born in?
1731?
John Hanson. Can anybody tell me?
1831?
Okay. Now, what year was Liberia founded?
Probably late 1800s.
1821 by the American Colonization Society. And now we're starting to cook. All right, now, I don't use Wikipedia a lot as a source unless I can verify what's going on. Because I do, why is this frozen? I do a lot of research and back up what I say. All right, now, how many people have looked at this picture? How many people have really looked at it? Okay. You notice this is a picture, not a painting, right? Okay. When were cameras invented? Type of picture this is called a Daguerreotype. The first camera. The Daguerreotype cameras were created in 1826. Okay. Now, if we look at what's here, and there's a link on loc.gov I want to show you. All right. It says here for John Hanson. This is from Wikipedia, but we can verify this stuff. It says he was an African American associated with the American Colonization Society, which sought to relocate blacks in Liberia. In Liberia, he served as a senator from Grand Bassa County. Senator Hanson has recently been confused with the earlier John Hanson, a white politician from Maryland, who served as president of the Continental Congress during the American Revolution. According to this urban myth, John Hanson of Maryland was actually black and also the president of the United States. Internet sites promoting the hoax used a photograph concerning the John Hanson of Liberia to support the claim, even though photography had not yet been invented when the earlier John Hanson was living. Okay, now if you go look up the Daguerreotype, camera, that was invented in 1826. Okay, Daguerreotype. Don't take my word for this. Go look that up, and it gives you the history cameras. And now also the picture that they show you from the research that I've done, that's from around 1856. We don't know if the technology in 1826, when the Daguerreotype was created, could produce that quality picture. See, that could be second generation technology, third generation technology. Let me give you an example. How many people knew that you had some people like working in government or high level sales, they had cell phones in their car in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? Yeah. People know them, right? Yeah. Okay, so, and my dad used to work for Motorola in the 70s, so he had one in his car.
James Bond had one in 19.
James Bond had one. Yeah. If you look at the Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier movie, Uptown Saturday Night, yeah. Biggie Smalls has one in his car. Right. That's not make believe. That technology actually existed. Everybody just didn't have one. The bills were probably $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month.
Okay? President Kennedy had touch-tone phone.
Okay, yeah.
When he was president.
Yeah, because
he killed in '63, so
yeah,
they had it. The technology they had was quite a ways back.
Exactly.
And the tones on the movie, the submarine movie, Voyage at the Bottom of the Sea.
Okay.
The tones on there that movie was made in 1963, and the tones on that movie would give you a government office if you would took your old phone and put it up to the TV and then put the tones into the phone.
Okay.
It would give you the United States government classified area.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So here's the thing. It's like somebody saying, well, people had phones in their car in the 70s and 80s, so they were sending text messages then. When all text messages, first text message was sent in 1992. So they didn't have that technology, especially out on the market. That's coming from digital technology. They didn't have that technology. So just because somebody had a cell phone in their car in 1960 does not mean they were sending text messages. Okay, that's that's generations later of technology. Okay, so in 1826, when the daguerreotype is invented, we don't even know if it could. I don't even know if it could produce that quality of picture. Okay, that's from 1856. That picture. Okay, now he serves Continental Congress 1781, 1782. He died in 1783. And if people think he was the same guy who was a senator in Liberia, okay, well, Liberia wasn't founded until 1821. Okay, and I forgot his exact birth date. I had this somewhere. I forgot his exact birthday, but based upon his birthday, if he was also a senator in Liberia, the youngest he could be at that time was 105 years old. Okay, and that's 1821. If that picture of him, that's a good daguerreotype, if that picture was taken in 1826, based upon his birthday, the youngest he could be there is about 110. If he's the same, if people are trying to tell me he's the same guy who was a senator in Liberia, okay? Now, here. Now, on this, in this article, they provide the links to back up what they're saying. There's a link here references American Colonization Society. It's a link that takes you to loc.gov, which is the Library of Congress's website. That's where they have a lot of artifacts, pictures, things like that. Okay? They show you the daguerreotype picture of Senator John Hanson, who was a senator to Liberia, and it's circa 1856. Okay? What's happened, no offense to anybody, but what's happened is he has been confused with a white senator named John Hanson. This guy right here. This is a commemorative. You can look this up. Don't take my word for this. I did a lot of research on this. This is a commemorative stamp from the U.S. Postal Service, 1981. Senator John Hanson. It says John Hanson, Presidential Congress, President Continental Congress. Okay, this is from 1981. You can Google that. You can go to usstamps.com. That's where I got it from. loc.gov may have it also. Okay. So what's happened is now the first problem we have is that he dies in 1783, so he dies about 40 years before the camera is invented to take the picture that he's showing. That's the first problem we have. Second problem also is if you look at his contemporaries, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, who was the second president, not to be confused with his son John Quincy Adams, who was the sixth president, because Michelle Bachmann didn't know the difference between two of them, and she was running for president. Look at Samuel Adams. These people, these were all contemporaries back at that time, 1776, right? You don't see any photographs of them, only paintings. Because they died before the camera was invented. Okay? So, this is what we're dealing with. They're confused. Now, a couple of days ago, I talked to Booker T. Coleman, because I already did the research on this, so I just wanted to see what he said. And I asked him about this. I'm doing a presentation on Saturday. I'm going to deal with this, and those are touchy subject, things like that. Don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but, you know, you need to know the truth. So I said, what do you know about John Hanson being the president? He said there were two John Hansons. We're confusing it with the white senator, John Hanson. Okay? Then I break down stuff to him. I said, well, the camera wasn't invented until 1826, so how could you have a picture of a man who died in 1783? So I was breaking down stuff to him he wasn't even sure, didn't even know about. And then I broke this down to him about the stamp showing the real John Hanson. But he told me, he said, even if the Moor John Hanson was president, because I'm not denying that he was a Moor, I'm not denying that he was senator of Liberia. I understand all that. I believe that. That's true. He said, even if he was president, he said, why would we be happy about that? I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we were slaves when he became president, and we were slaves when he left the presidency. So what are we talking about? What are we bragging about? Okay? Then I said, damn, you bragging about that? He said, what good did it do us? Okay, so I was trying to, I wanted to show you, but on loc.gov, they show you, I'm going to see if I can get on there. On loc.gov, they show you the daguerreotype picture of Senator to Liberia, John Hanson, the Moor, in the circa 1856, because that technology didn't exist when he died in 1783. So we're confused. The problem with the internet is very powerful. But as Professor Manu Pem explained this to me, he said you can educate or miseducate thousands of people with a few keystrokes. Okay? And unfortunately, this is what's happening. And what I explain to people is that we have thousands and thousands of years of actual history. So we don't have to try to claim something that can easily be proven wrong.
Right.
Okay, because when we put things out like that that can be proven wrong, then what it does, it tends to hurt the whole genre when it comes to African history and making the case for it in the schools, things like that. Okay? So what I'm going to try to do is get this up, show this to you, because this is